wrestling card world. This is Huskerhav, and I'm joined with my, we're welcoming 3 WCW guests into our studio today. And we're here to talk about many things in the hobby. But first, I want to give an introduction to the 3 that we have, Buff, Riggs, and Lodi. And I want to say something to each one of you guys individually. For starters, to Lodi, I did some research, and as a veteran, I realized that you were also a veteran at a point in your life, and we just passed Veterans Day, and I just want to say thank you to a former brother for serving like I did, and I just want to say how appreciative I was of that. Buff, I looked up stuff up with you, and something that I found interesting was you were a big baseball player in your younger days. Is that correct?
Yes.
So what was it like? I'm sure you collected trading cards when you were a kid. What was it like to find yourself on a wrestling card when you first saw it?
That was really cool. You know, trading cards were a big deal. At first, it was, I think, to get the bubble gum. But
Yeah.
But then, of course, it became a thing. We got a little bit older to understand what they were. And you know, it was really, it was one of the coolest things, I think, the cards came out, because you finally knew you were actually somebody, man. I mean, you know, action figures one thing, and, you know, being in a magazine and stuff like that. But when you really get on a card, a wrestling card, it just really meant that we really had made it to the top of our game, you know?
Yeah. Riggs, one thing that I really learned about you is you really have taken to a lot of the indie scene through the years, and you got to experience a lot of that. What's your thought on a lot of the indie scenes that are really coming online nowadays? Because it just seems like almost every state is getting their own independent wrestling circuit. What's been your experience with that compared to some of the big boys like WCW or WWE?
I mean, when I broke into the business, Nightmare Ted Allen trained me. He trained Art Anderson, Big Boss Man, Randy Anderson, referee. And basically, he took me around to any independent show that he got booked on. I got to set up the ring. He called the match in the ring the whole time. He would teach me in the ring and listen to the crowd to get an understanding of how to wrestle, how to put on a match, psychology, listen to the crowd. So today's crews can get some kind of veteran leadership that can train them like that. That probably is the best way to actually learn your craft and master the craft and be able to transition into the larger company, I guess you would say, the AEWs, the WWEs right now. Even New Japan's, anything like that, they use the dojo systems probably still that I know of. So even that factor right there, it's the best way to learn your craft in front of a live audience.
Absolutely. So, gentlemen, I just wanted to, start out by saying again, we are, very big wrestling collectors, okay, per se. We are huge into cards, things of that nature. WCW, NWO, Nitro set, huge in our hobby, very sought after kind of cards. And kind of just wanted to touch base on them a little bit. I know all 3 of you had cards in there, autograph cards. So in general, Joey, do you have the pictures for them?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
need no picture.
Joey's eating.
So Buff, I just want to ask you, that you have your card in your hand, right?
Yeah.
Is that your signature on that
100%
card?
no. It's not bad. It's just not my B. My entire life, on any initial first letter when I write, my pen, and I've really tried to reenact making this B in every way I could. And I just have never, ever, and on every B you see from this day forward, and every B you see back, except here, does the pen leave the paper. My B, it starts with a swipe always, and my M does too. A swipe, and then I go into the B, and I do the swoop. There's always a swoop like this, but it never leaves the paper like it's left here. To do this one, you have to do a stick down and then do the 2 bubbles, and I've never made a B like that in my life.
Okay. So do you have any idea who may have been the one that did sign the cards? Do you have any idea?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. And I guess my same question is for Riggs. You have a picture of your card there?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Is that your signature?
No.
Okay.
Not even, dude, there's not even a G or a G in there.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? It's
Don't you do Scotty Riggs?
Yeah, well, I mean, the flock there, so it would have been just Riggs, but that's not even. I don't know where that came from. I look at it and go.
So you guys never had these cards actually in your hands or anything like that?
The only thing I can remember is kind of like you almost stated. There was one time we sat down, like it gave you 1,000 cards to sign.
Okay.
It was like going, and it was like had to do it on a Saturday night TV taping or the night show, whatever. And you had a couple, and whoever sitting there and signing them, but that's not my signature.
Okay, so you are saying that you did sign.
I signed some cards, yeah, at one point in time, but not that one.
Not that one. Okay. And Lodi, you basically are the one that was.
You guys gave me this, right?
Right.
Yep.
That is your signature, correct?
It is. And I got something better for you, cats. Look what I brought. I've got a sleeve of 9 of them.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Some of them are signed and some of them are not.
But hold on now. These were different times, I was told.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Different sets. Yes.
There was two. There's 2 different sets.
Are these cards you guys' cards?
No.
Okay,
No,
so I was making,
no.
I wasn't quite sure.
No. And in fact, there's the hobby can sometimes look at the autographs as a series 1 and a series 2, because one group appeared in, I think, was a '98 Topps WCW NWO set, and then the next one appeared in the Topps embossed set, which came out in 1999, a few months later. And it depends on who it was, but there's different guys in both sets. So, but the card, but the cards look.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Again, though, I'm really just thinking about it again, looking at it. If somebody handed me this card to do, I still would never make this be this way.
Right.
But if it was like 10 or 15 cards, again, it takes 2 swipes of the pen to make this mark. You got to make a stripe down, and then you got to make the bubble. And time considering the way I like my B and the way I do autographs, my pen does not leave the paper for each initial.
For time considering, to make it as fast as possible when you're doing that.
I would never take 2 swipes at the B. It would never, and it's the only way you can do it because the ink isn't here, so there's no way that's my B.
The almost hot tag off of him. I mean, Riggs, and you guys done 1,000 of these, it would have been it would have been chicken scratch, and that's like that looked like it took time to sign that.
Right.
That's like there's no G's. I don't know.
Lodi, I'm wondering, do you remember when you were sitting down and signing your cards with other people? Was there guys who kind of got to the point where they're like, "Okay, I got writer's cramp. I already signed 200. I'm not signing any more." I mean, or did they sit there and sign the whole stack at the time frame?
Yeah, I think the main reason I remember this story, I was sitting with Raven. I'm pretty sure it was a Nitro. We came in, and like as soon as we came in by the person where we had to check in, the board and stuff was.
Yeah.
Hey, sometime today you guys have got baseball cards to sign. And when I talked to Ross Foreman today, who was very instrumental in putting all the baseball card deals together for WCW, now works for Impact. He said he thought there were 500 cards. I thought there were more than like 1,000. He said there may have been 1,000, but there were no more than that. But he remembered it explicitly as well.
And Lodi, do you remember when you went to sit down? Do you remember what other wrestlers might have been there with you?
I remember Raven and I were making fun of Rey Mysterio Jr. If you've got 1,000 cards to sign, you got Buff, 4 letters, Lodi, 4 letters, Riggs and Raven, 5. Rey Mysterio Jr. would suck for 1,000.
Well,
that would suck for 1, much less 1,000. Yeah. And listen, there are a lot of things about WCW I don't remember, but when I had this discussion with Joey, it was the craziest thing because he was telling me a lot of guys don't remember doing that or remember the cards.
Sure.
I can't tell you why, in my mind, it felt like it was yesterday. That's one vivid memory I remember, and I don't know why. But to go to Joey's point and Buff's and Riggs and people not
He
remembering.
just survived a heart attack.
There's that.
That's probably why you remember it so crisp and clear.
There's that. 5.5 months ago.
Yeah.
But Arn Anderson comes to the school at the wrestling school a couple nights a week. I trained Brock, his son. And it just so happened after this conversation with Joey, they were in the gym. And I'm like, hey, Arn, I know you were in that set. Do you remember signing these cards? He said, Lodi, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, I tried to put it out of him, and Arn swears it never happened. And then I showed him the cards I've got. I said, these are the ones we
Is
signed.
Arn's signature on it?
I said, well, I said, Arn, do you not remember doing this? He said, I've never seen those cards in my life. And Brock, who is 27, this was 25 years ago. Brock said, Dad, we got a whole sleeve of those upstairs in the office. I've seen them.
Wow.
So yes, Arn's got his too.
So that's interesting. So do you know?
See,
Brock
his,
had to tell him.
his signature is Arn's signature.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Looks like Arn.
Yeah.
So do you know? Is it possible that there are actual guys out there who have a bunch of their cards that they never signed?
I want to say what I think they did for us, and maybe it was different for different guys. I have 10 cards right now in my possession. They were given to me by the card company, and for some reason I signed 3 of them, but I haven't signed anything else. The rest of them are all still blank.
Gotcha. Now, the other thing I was curious about this particular card set, did you guys get compensated for your autographs from Topps or WCW, or was this just you're signed with WCW, you're going to sign autographs because we want you to?
This is going to sound so bad, but my contract was so much money, I didn't count that kind of money.
Gotcha.
That don't sound bad at all.
I think guys wasn't making as bigger money. This was big money, so you look for those checks.
You know, I will tell you, my first baseball card check ever, so it was obviously for a quarter. I don't remember how many cards it was for. I know everybody had different deals. Mine, like, we got paid from Turner. I can't remember what day it came, but every 2 weeks it came like on a Tuesday. I got a FedEx package with my number that. Yeah.
Yes.
See, that's every 2 weeks. And if you go, there's like a random FedEx package. It's either
money.
It's either money or a ticket to go somewhere to go work.
Yes.
There was no get the tickets in the mail.
Yes.
Or whatever. But yes, it was. And I remember my first baseball card royalty check was $800. But like Buff said, I would get those and put them on my dresser. And my brother he was kind of my personal assistant because I was never completely sober. And he walks in one day, hey, bro, you got like $14,000 laid on the dresser. Do we put that in a bank account, or what do you want to do?
What do you do with it?
It's like,
Exactly.
yeah, you know, whenever you get around to it.
Yes.
But truly, you threw those royalty checks, they didn't match up. And Buff was killing it way more than I was. But it's just one of those things where,
It is.
oh, what am I getting paid for?
I mean, I look back on it, I'm embarrassed to say it and how lucky we really were, but everybody gets comfortable in every position. Like Lodi throwing the checks up, it's just the way it was. And it was just coming in. And I remember I wrote it off to myself as getting a check and saying a prayer to God. And I wrote it off as I did my job. I prayed to God about it, and we were good because we knew it was different. But no matter how good you have it, when it gets like that, you just kind of forget about it, how great it really was.
Sure. No, and that's me being as big of a WCW mark as I am. I know a lot about that stuff, and not how much you guys were paid, but I know you guys were all paid very well with those the contracts.
I got a question though. My question is, why are we going this deep with this? Why are we going so deep?
So
go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, you asked that. I'm glad. Joey, you might want to chime in on that too a little bit.
I would just say because of the value of them.
Because of the value, and because Joey, didn't you buy a card that Buff ended up saying I didn't sign?
Exactly. Yeah. I think
I would say one of the main reasons why we are interested in it.
Who's the person behind it?
Who's what?
Who's getting drilled right now as we drill the person saying this ain't ours?
Well, I don't know if anyone's really getting drilled more than the fact that there's been so many questions about this particular set in the hobby that we felt it necessary to try to explore and go in and try to figure out, because there's been a lot of rumors that have been out in our hobby with this particular set. I'm not going to name any names, but it's believed that one of the superstars had possibly his son and his wife signing cards for him. And now with collectibles being as hot as they are, and people are looking for autographs, this is becoming a very high dollar thing. And
Yes.
my only concern that I have with it is if there are autographs out there, I want people to know that they're legit, because it's gotten to the point with this particular set that it's kind of like buyer beware. People don't necessarily know if everything that they're buying is possibly legit autograph or not. And I think that's part of the reason why we want to explore this on this podcast a little bit, but talk a little bit more with you guys about your experience with WCW, if that helped answer that question, Buff.
It's perfect. Thank you.
And to touch up, to kind of piggyback on that, it's an extremely sought after set. So
Correct.
the cards are very, very high dollar. So like, I mean, even guys like, your Glaciers and guys like that weren't, you know what I mean? That were kind of like, on and off, real quick kind of thing, didn't get over kind of deal. Even their autographs sell for multiple hundreds of dollars. So
Sonny Ono would have a card out there today. When I first busted a box on my web store back in the day, I had his autograph on there. I ended up selling that card at the time frame for like $25. I'd probably get no less than $200 for that card today. And just gives you an idea of how sought after even the most common people could be within that set. There's a significant demand out there, but there's also a lot of rumors and innuendo that has never really been cleared up. I mean, I would like to find in a roundabout way some guy who worked for Topps at that particular time to try to get some more information about the stuff, because I just feel it's necessary for the hobby to know the truth more than anything else.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you guys. I want to ask you guys this, because, like I said, I collect a lot of different things, and WCW did a wonderful job on marketing a lot of different items. I know Bagwell was on a padlock at one time frame. You guys were on lottery tickets at some states at one point. Car air fresheners, gum containers. All different kinds of different images were used for you guys. Was there any item that you guys had that you look back in your days that you scratch your head and kind of think that was kind of odd that I appeared on that product?
Mine that I was proud of was the MasterLock.
Gotcha.
Oh, that was
I think the MasterLock. I think there was 4 different locks. Wasn't it you? Rey Mysterio had one. I think Diamond Dallas Page, and I think there was a 4th lock, but I'm not sure who that was off the top of my head. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it does. And that was super cool to me. But the other one was the Hot Wheels.
Yeah, I'm about to say
that was super cool.
Yeah, because the neat thing about the Hot Wheels is they were a dual collectible. You had the car as well as the image of you on there also. Sorry, Riggs, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
To grow up in that era where you had the Hot Wheels, or those cars were like, as a kid, you got yours and like, sweet, you played with them. You traded hard yards to have your own with your face on the hood, your name and box. I had a black and purple, I think it was a Trans Am. So it was a sweet, it was nice.
Yeah. Mustang. Mine's a Mustang.
So that was a super cool one to have. I mean, I had nothing other than that. That was anything that was unique or boring or something. You said that anything else like that.
Cool.
And you know what? I collect so much of that stuff too. I mean, you can see my whole walls covered and stuff. My whole room is, but like, it's still to this day, I'll still see things pop up on eBay that I'd never seen before and didn't know existed. It's like, it's actually mind blowing how many WCW like merch things they had out there. So my question to you is, did you guys get paid for that kind of merch? Did you get like a merch check? Is it like it is nowadays where the guys get, a monthly or 2-month check for merch sales, or how did that work? Like,
I think I'm talking for all of us with this, but you got to realize to order this stuff during our run, it was over the phone in a catalog.
Yeah.
Sure.
There wasn't no computer, bro.
Right.
So if they were like Jim Brown would have been a millionaire if he was running the football today, that kind of story.
Yep.
We'd be a lot richer if computers were around during our run. But
Makes
to order out of a catalog, my hat I had, the Buff hat, or whatever we were doing, if it was a computer you go click, I'd been rich off that. But you had to order out of a catalog. So I don't think nobody was getting rich off of anything with stuff like that.
Makes a lot of sense.
Maybe the only thing anybody saw something big wise was
Video game,
video game,
yeah,
video game. That Nintendo 64, I think it was.
We got everybody got like 40. We got like 40 grand for that each.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. The other thing that was interesting about the video games, I don't know if you guys know this, but some of those video games came out with players guides that actually had 9 trading card panels in the players in the actual players guide of you guys. Did you guys know that?
No.
Yeah. Yep. There's some of you that there's some of you guys that have a trading card of your video game likeness that you get in that magazine if you find the right magazines that have the 9 card panel still in them.
No, I didn't know that.
Wow. You for sure probably got one.
I hope.
You know what I'm saying? Buff got one. Riggs and Lodi probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah, I know you have one. I know you have one, Buff, and I'll get with Joey because I have extras. I will send him one of your own cards if you want one for your own collection from the video games.
That'd be great. Awesome.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, I'll get that to you. It's not a problem. Go ahead,
Thank you
Mike.
so much.
That was something I wanted to ask you too. Was as far as the merch goes, did you guys get did you ever did they give you your own merch of the stuff that would come out, or did you ever go out of your way to buy those cool things like the Hot Wheels and stuff?
I got a story about when I was trying to really do. It seems like y'all are very interested because this is what y'all do with
Right.
merchandise.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
I came out with that backwards hat that I wore my very first NWO picture. I found an embroider place that embroidered NWO in a leather cap. And this embroider place didn't even do leather ball caps. But I talked them into trying it with their machine, and they printed embroidered white stitching NWO on those kangoos, or what were they?
Kangaroos.
Those had to
I remember those.
this way. They had a button, but you turn them backwards, and everybody wore them during that time. They're kind of puffy, and they go down as slant backwards. And I wore those. Well, WCW came out with it, and in the early days of the catalog, it was Buff Bagwell's hat. That network that's on TV when you order QVC,
yeah, yep.
had me on for Christmas, and they told me that hat was not mine anymore. And here I am making a lot of money.
Wow.
And I didn't want to argue over a hat, but I was pissed off about it. I said, Eric, it's my idea. It's my hat.
Yeah.
Actually, Buff hat. He goes, I'll give you the money you make off of the one you sign for Christmas. So during that Christmas special, I made the money off of my top hat that I specifically signed for each one. And after that, the Buff word was removed from that hat, and it was WCW hat. And I don't know how or what or when, but you pick your fights when you're making $500,000 a year, and it wasn't a time to pick that fight.
So in a roundabout way, if you could find one of the first WCW catalogs, you'd find the one that has the thing describing that hat as the Buff hat, whereas the later catalogs would call that a different type of hat.
Yes, and if you, no doubt about it, and if you find one of those hats signed, it should be worth a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely.
I see, and I remember that at first you wearing the backwards hat, and then I remember
before the top hat. It was before the top hat. I had that backwards hat.
Right.
And then Steiner did the backwards hat for a while. Me and Steiner did it together, and then I had the choker.
You didn't wear it that long, though. I mean, that's obviously what you're known for, is the top hat. You know?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would wear it, and then I went to the do-rag for a while with NWO. So I'm just trying to be different all the time, But the top hat really stuck.
You know what, and that's what was so great about WCW back in the day, was everybody had their own personality, their own gimmick, their own kind of they were their own kind of personality. That's why I was such like I say, I mean, I didn't change the channel over to WWE. I really didn't. I didn't want to miss nothing. So
we're talking about merchandise and what percentage we got. Think about this for a second. Think about me working for the WWF and Vince McMahon, and my gimmick being a top hat, and there not being, how many top hats would be available for sale for
Today?
And
Yeah.
there wasn't one for WCW, not one, not a
Right.
pop-up, not a styrofoam, not a plastic one, not one top hat could you buy of Buff Bagwell. But Vince McMahon would have had every color, every shape, every size. It's just what they didn't quite focus in on as much as Vince did.
Sure.
Hey,
sure.
I wanted to ask you three. Recently in our hobby, you see this on Twitter, that some of the bigger names in the wrestling industry today have come out and they've kind of voiced how angry or frustrated they get by going through airports from fans coming up and hassling them for autographs or photos and stuff like that. Did you guys have that problem back in the day? Was that something that ever rubbed you guys the wrong way, or what was your general interaction with the fans back in the day, just out there in the public when you were out there?
I thought for the most part, when I say most part, like 90% of the time or more, if they were always respectful. I know you guys talked about seeing something on social media recently where guys, flock to somebody in the airport.
Yep.
They've got 40 pictures to sign.
Right.
That's on eBay or being sold or whatever. That was not so big back when, WCW went this, 2001? That just wasn't a big thing back then. I mean, I don't think, signing multiple items like that for collectors until well into the early 2000s. So that was never a deal. It was like one autograph and done. So, even if you had 20 people come by or whatever.
And the guys that we were with, we were thrilled to sign them. Man, we were nice and everybody and thanking them. I remember vividly getting off a plane in Miami, Florida, and walking beside Nash, and he again, a guy came up with 20 pictures, and Kevin very nicely goes, "I'll sign 10." And not up here me, but super. And Kevin would be the roughest to all the people because he's a bigger star, of course, and everybody understood. As soon as I saw Kev do that, I, of course, did the same thing. But they also knew they could come to me at the bar at the next day, and I do 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. So because I was nice to everybody with that. But I did at least see there should have been a rule to it because internet was getting popular and they were starting to sell them. And another big way to solve that problem is if they wanted their name on it, I would sign it. Yeah. But if they wanted to put my name on it, then I limited the amount of pictures I signed.
Right, because with their name on it, it's personalized to them. They're not doing it for resale. It's for, yes, I totally understand that.
Right.
Yes. So, in general, as far as the years you were at WCW, like you guys were all there multiple years, obviously. Obviously your schedule was a lot different than the WWF schedule. You guys had a lot more lenient schedule. So was that something that played into your psyche? Like, I know that, you did go over to WWE for a little while. Was it just a totally different feel with that, the lighter schedule versus the heavier schedule?
Did y'all really know the schedule for them? I didn't. Did y'all?
I didn't either. And
I don't think neither one of us really knew their schedule. Here's what we did know, I think. We did know that we got paid contractually. And when Kevin and Scott came back to us, they were very vivid about saying, look, you guys are a bunch of babies. I mean, y'all are spoiled brats because no matter what happened, Lodi got paid a same amount of money every 2 weeks. And no matter what happened, Scotty did, and no matter what I did, no matter what every WCW guy got. Well, in the WWF, there was, you got paid according to how you drew. So
right.
thinking somebody for the house or thinking somebody for, sometimes their paycheck will be $500 a week that week. And the next week it may be, and also ours was bi-weekly and theirs was every week. So it was a big difference in money, and we were spoiled. We really were.
Riggs, you mentioned earlier how important it was that you got to be there kind of on the ground floor, helping set up the rings, auditorium, and stuff like that. We had a guest on our podcast a while ago, and he talked a little bit about FCW down in Florida and some of his experience around that and watching how much of that talent back then for that organization doing a lot of legwork to try to make things better. Your experience, do you think that made you appreciate your time in the industry even more And is that something that you would recommend to a lot of new up and comers getting into wrestling?
Well, it let you learn that there was more than this, the glitz and glamour of being a WWE superstar. You know, they're not even wrestlers anymore. They're all superstars. They're sports entertainers. Right. So yeah, when you got to tear the ring down, bust a knuckle, pop a finger or something like that with the boards or whatever, get a splinter, any little thing like that, you earn a little more respect for what continues to go into that ring. It's built in that ring. So you put it together, you put your match together, you go show it. It's all on the same stage, and you produce that out or that stage there. So yeah, it's a whole new perspective when you do it that way. You kind of look at kids today, and they're a little more spoiled because they show up. Somebody else was saying earlier today, you walking back at some of the places, it's 10 tables in a row. They're all getting massages. They're all getting their bodies worked on. They're all getting catering. You had to bring your own meal back then. You had to bring a Subway sandwich out, have it on the center stage for a Saturday night TV taping and the soda. And now you come in and you got a big old spread of salmon, steak, whatever. So yeah, you learn to really appreciate every little step of the journey.
Right. Appreciate where you came from and how you made it to that point.
Definitely.
Got it. Absolutely.
And some guys like me got trained twice and then thrown on TV and looked like an idiot for a year. but it really, but like Scotty did too. The same thing he talked about Ted Allen. It was it's the way they trained guys back then. They just put you in the ring but man, you look so stupid. But when you look stupid once.
Yeah.
And if you correct it, you become very good, or you just don't make it. And it really was a great way to teach guys. I remember setting the ring up for about, honest God, without exaggeration, for 2 weeks. And I was at the point about ready to quit. I was like, I'm not going to set this ring up no more. It's ridiculous. I don't understand. And then the guy eased off me a little bit and showed me some more things, and I got excited. But it definitely paints a picture, bro, when you're setting that ring. We had to set the ring up, train, and then tear it down because where we wrestled was an auction barn. So we had Gordon ran this place called North Georgia Wrestling. Van Hammer, Scotty Riggs, Disco, Mark Merrow, Raven. Raven was Scotty the Body. I was Fabulous Fabian, and him, you and Disco were something. The strippers, Chippendale or something.
Chippendale gimmick, yeah.
There was some stripper gimmick, and so a lot of guys came out of North Georgia, man. But it was set the ring up, wrestle, tear the ring down.
Remember it.
And bro, doing that for 2 weeks, I was about done.
Nice.
So
I want to ask you a question because I'm a big wrestling figure collector, and I've actually
I didn't sign that either.
I've actually met. You guys meet so many people that you guys wouldn't remember it, but I've actually met you before. But in general, I have to ask you because I know you guys have all had multiple figures released. What would be your favorite figure that was released of you?
My favorite one is I got two stories. My favorite one is the tall one. There's a tall one that and the reason why this is my favorite is because it meant the most to me. There was only like 8 guys that got this one. It was like
I think it was 18 inches tall, wasn't it?
It was if it's 18 inches, that's it.
Yep.
And it was called Talking Tough.
Talking Tough, yeah.
And the voice inside the action figure was my voice. And it read underneath our pecs, it read the other wrestler's person. And if I covered Kevin Nash, it'd say, 1, 2, 3, way to go, Buff. And my mouth moved with the action figure, and it was my voice inside the action figure. It was the coolest thing I've ever had in my entire life. And the tights, the boots, the tattoo, hair, glasses, earrings. It was the best action figure for me ever.
Very cool. Very cool.
A good one?
No.
Well, I got another story then. The one that was the craziest one was me and Scott Steiner did the wheelchair things that were so funny. And everybody was hilarious. Eric loved it. We were doing these wheelchair skits. Well, Eric said, look, man, you cannot do no more of the wheelchair stuff. They're going to sue us, all this stuff. The next week, they come out with an action figure with me in a wheelchair.
Yes, yeah, I remember that.
So we couldn't play with it no more. But there's an action figure now that people they can play it. So I was like, that don't make sense. But there's actually an action figure with me in a wheelchair where the wheels fall off.
So I got another question for you. This is just something that I've noticed just off of social media in general. How, because it drives me nuts. I don't know. I've listened to his podcast before. How nuts did it drive you to hear Russo say bro every other word? Literally every other word.
Bro,
like,
bro.
bro.
Yeah, I'm about to say DDP does a lot. So
it was so much, like it was over so much, like, and it's just.
Well, let me tell y'all what you don't know. What you don't know is he sat down when Russo came in, and I think you guys were part of this, and at least you had to hear about it for sure. You know, supposedly when Russo first came in, the stink was that these guys just work for Vince. Are they some kind of, secret agent?
Oh yeah, did Vince send them there to
send them there? It was all that. So the first thing Russo did is he went with it to the top, and I don't know the exact number, 30, 40, 50 guys, whatever it is, but the top of the top guys. And he said, each individual, and I was one of those people that I was told this is what he did. But to me, one-on-one, he said, the problem with this company is y'all's boss always gets on TV. Dusty did it. Flair did it. Eric Bischoff did it. They all get on TV. I'm not going to show my face on TV.
He was a champ. He was the champ at one point.
Hold on. He said, I'm gonna show you guys how it's done. I'm never showing my face. And at the beginning, the Harris brothers was his tools, his voice, but it never showed his face. In 3 weeks, he was the world champ. Bro.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I liked Russo, but he was I didn't notice the bro thing so much, but I did notice him getting on TV and me getting over a lot quicker than I thought was gonna happen.
Wow.
Well, I mean, getting over, how did he, that's I guess a good question. Yeah, that's
supposed to be the special guy or something like that, and they're trying to be Jeff Jarrett or something. When there's some little storyline about that, because I had to put you over in a match that you didn't want to. We did a little thing that Russo wanted us to do where we're sitting there in the back and just expose business. Hey, what's the finish? I'm catching with a crossbody 1, 2, 3, and you're like, throwing your hand up. You're supposed to be the special guy. I can't remember what the
I can't remember it either, but it just didn't.
They were doing it for it, and we go out there and then instead of
they didn't plan out that. We didn't do it.
Instead of doing the 1, 2, 3 on you 1, 2, 3 me and Mickey Jason popping up and doing this all in the match and everything else, and you storm out there.
It's really weird.
It made no sense at all. No. But it was what.
Well, so yeah, I mean the stipulations, the matches he came up with and stuff. I mean, at Buff, I remember. They were going to be pushing all the young guys. I mean, I remember you beating Mr. Perfect for a career match.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I remember that. And you got what was his name? That's his move. That's his move. Like you know what I mean? Like trying to get everybody hyped up for it. I just feel like they went about it the wrong way, and I feel like they were doing the right thing and going the right direction with the younger guys going, because that's what it had to be. We watched those older guys for so long, but they just I don't feel like they did it the right way.
No, they didn't. I mean, even when that was happening, I had a sheet of paper that was word for word what I had to say to Macho Man.
Wow.
And dogging him out, old dinosaur, but verbatim what I had to say. And at Thunder the next week, it was me and Macho main event on Thursday Night Thunder. And I got beat to death on 3/4 of a shoot for the whole 13-minute match. And when it was over, I said, bro, are you kidding me? And he goes, watch what you say next time to me, bro, on your interviews. And I went, well, I saved the paper because I knew it was going to come back on me. And I showed it to him, and he goes, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. I go, sorry? I said, you just beat me up for 15 minutes, and we were main event. So it was definitely handled the wrong way. If everybody would have been on board, us saying you're old and them saying they're great would have worked.
Right. And so as far as that goes, like with the the creative stuff. Like, I mean, I know a lot of the big, you know, the higher up guys, you know, the Hogans and them, they all had, you know, whatever they said, you know, they wanted to do, they would do. Did you guys have that same kind of creative freedom, or was it more like what you said? Was with Bischoff, was the creative freedom different with Bischoff than with Russo?
Absolutely, because Eric had his boys a little more, but Russo had his with Jarrett's and that. So it is according if you were friends with Eric or if you were friends with Jarrett. When Bischoff was in front, you could tell it was the Steiners, Luger, Bagwell, Stings. Those his WCW boys would win. Me and Lex beat Goldberg when Eric was in charge, and when Russo was in charge, it was your Jarrett's and it was your Billy Kidmans, and it was just a different clique of guys that he liked. But you could always tell who was in charge on who was getting the push.
And you can 100% see that. Yeah.
Yes.
When the time came that Vince made his move and he bought out the organization, how'd you guys feel at the time frame? Were you guys kind of shocked? Did you guys know this was in the works coming down the pipe? I mean, because to us out here as fans, when it happened, I can talk for myself. I was fairly devastated. I was like, I can't believe this is happening.
I was as well.
I mean, I remember pulling up to Panama City. I mean, were y'all there that day?
I was not.
Were you there that day?
I was in ECW, so I was happy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He's already gone.
I was gone.
He was one of the first ones to leave.
Yes.
When we sat down and they said they weren't renewing my contract, I said bye. And they said, "Don't you want to stay and work on a nightly deal? We'll pay you $5,000 or $5,000 a match." I'm like, for how many dates a month? If I get 10 dates a month, would be great. No, we're talking maybe once or twice a month. I'm like going, nah, I'm out. Boom, I was gone. I went to ECW.
Did it surprise you though, Riggs, that went down like that? In other words, you know, it was really kind of from us as fans back in the day. It was kind of like, oh, WWE won and WCW, you know, lost to them. I mean, that's kind of the way some of us out in the hobby world kind of were led to feel. Did you have an opinion of like, oh, okay, so WCW got what they deserved or anything like that?
No, I mean, the biggest thing I saw was something I grew up on. I grew up on NWA, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, Georgia Championship Wrestling, which all morphed into TBS, which all morphed into the World Championship Wrestling banner. Grew up on it, watched it in college. And next thing you know, my aspirations were to be in the WCW. And so when I finally got there, I'm like, hey, this is the top of the dome pole for me, for where I wanted to be. And to be stepping in that ring, that stage, I felt like I really made it. Yeah, I saw WWF as another avenue, another company to work for, but I didn't see that any better than us at the time because we were knocked down, drag out with them. And we were
exactly.
That back then.
Being in NWO, we were lucky enough at that junction to be at the top of the company and pecking order. We NWO, we were at the top of the group. And it was okay. Everybody was happy. Everybody was making money. We were doing good. We were winning, but we were high-fiving Eric Bischoff on private jets, on beating Vince every Monday. And as we'd high-five Eric behind his back, we'd be going, "This ain't good. This ain't good," because we love Eric, but at the same time, we knew there had to be two companies. There had to be two companies, and there wasn't. You know, if there wasn't, it was going to be bad. And on the other end, you got Vince McMahon having a fake Razor Ramon and a fake Diesel. I mean, oh my God, he's lost his mind. We're feeling all of a sudden he's losing his mind, and we're winning, giving high fives, and all of a sudden he's in Panama City with his trucks. We're like, what happened? What's going on? So they came in, it was over. Shane McMahon had a meeting, and he goes, I swear to God, the meeting wasn't 2 minutes long. He goes, we're going to keep some guys, we're going to fire some guys. We're going to keep some referees. We're going to fire some referees. We're going to keep some office staff. We're going to fire some office staff. He goes, good luck. And about half the crowd went, and I'll go at Luger. And Luger was like this. So I stayed like this. And some people clapped, some people didn't. And on the way home, I think everybody was depressed, of course. On the way home, my brother calls me and goes, where you at? And I go, I'm on the way home. He goes, Vince McMahon just named 5 guys on that show, and you were one of the 5.
Wow.
At the time, that it was okay to hear, but as that grew, that was supposedly a big deal that he mentioned my name. Well, I was the first one hired and the first one fired. So I don't know what the hell that meant, but it didn't work out for me.
Well, hey, if it's any indication, believe it or not, on the 1999 Topps embossed wrestling card box, you are one of the 4 wrestlers that appear on that box. Just so I don't know if you knew that, but that just kind of tells you the importance of you at that time frame for that product also.
Yes, thank you. That's good.
It also has the promo card in that set.
Really?
Yes. Yep. You had a really nice promo card in that set too. Yes, definitely a nice looking card. And it's a fairly hard card to find, believe it or not. That promo card of you. Yep.
Thank you.
So, hey, I know. Mike, you wanted Riggs to give a shout out. Why don't we do that quick? Because I know we're running down to our time.
So Riggs, my buddy Ed. He's again, we're huge. We were huge Ravens flock guys. You were one of his top 3 favorite all-time guys. So if you could just give him a little shout out, I think he'd be very happy with that.
What was his name again?
Ed. And to be in the flock, you had to be a little bit twisted. You had to be a little bit some debauchery to you, some idiocy to you, some more of a screw loose than everybody else. This guy, he helped out for a lot. And all I can say is, chicks dug the eye patch. So I guess you did too, Ed.
There you go. That's good.
Hey, I want to say while we wrap this up, I want to say thank you to all you guys for coming on. But I also want to give you guys each a personal thank you from me and Mike. Just to let you guys know, as fans, Mike and I, we collect everything when it comes to cardboard, but you wrestlers are the best. And I just want to tell you how thankful we are to have the memories that you guys provided. And more importantly, how thankful we are that you were able to come on and spend some time with us tonight. So I wish you guys all, I know we're past Thanksgiving, but I wish you guys all a happy Thanksgiving and a very upcoming Merry Christmas. We're approaching the holidays and the best of the new year. And thank you very much from the bottom of our heart for coming on our podcast.
Cool. Thank you
for having us.
Thank you guys so much. We appreciate
And a big final shout out to Ed.
Yes.
Cool. Well, hey, that wraps everything up. So we're out. Joey, I just want to say thank you and get these guys taken care of for us. And thank you guys for everything that you do. And I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. We've had so many people that we've been in contact with through the years that are wrestlers, but it's you guys from the era that you were there that affects us the most as fans. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone says. Your guys' era was special, and I'm glad that you guys got to be a part of it because it's just amazing to us as fans.
Thanks so much, man. It was special to us doing it. I can promise. We
Very
know.
special.
We know. We all 3. I can tell you. We know it was a very big deal, man. It was
Huge.
It was a special time, man, and we were part of it.
Yeah, it was must.
Cool.
It was must see TV, and yeah, we're talking the age of, for me, the Monday Night War. I was from the age of 13 to 18, so I was glued, man. Like the nostalgia, the memories it brings back, and that's again why we do a lot of the stuff. When you guys have these lines at WrestleCade and stuff like that, and people come all over to meet you guys, is because you guys were our heroes, man. You know what I mean? And it's all nostalgia, and it just means so much to us, even just to talk to you for a couple minutes and getting an autograph on an action figure or something. So like Anthony said, thank you so much for everything you guys have done and entertainment you provided to us all these years.